the AFC, Joe Burrow versus Patrick Mahomes. And this game's got me feeling like the NFL might be rigged. We talked about it the other week. Taylor, your thoughts?
Mm-mm. There were a few times where it seemed as though that the refs were siding with a certain team that were not in orange and black. But do I think it's rigged? No. I think that if you're going to boil it down to, oh, well, the refs cheated us, don't be in the position to let the refs cheat you out of a game. I'll say that time and time again. The 49ers were saying it when they were down 7-30. They were saying that the refs were calling bullcrap calls on them, but they were all legitimate. There were a few, but these two games, the way that they were officiated, does not convince me that it's rigged whatsoever. I just don't like the refs cheated us out of the game.
It's a lazy excuse, to be honest.
Yeah, I can't stand it. I hate it. Even as a fan, whenever I say, oh, well, if the refs would have, not called us on all these bullcrap, it just, once I go back and rethink about it or reread it, if I posted it, I'm like, man, I look stupid saying that. The team should have put themselves in a position where if they get a 15-yard penalty, it doesn't affect them. You put yourself in a position to succeed. And they weren't able to do that, and then the penalties hindered them even more. And that's on them as a team, Yeah. But that's my take.
I don't understand why no one's talking about they had 2 minutes, 2 timeouts, and a chance to win the game.
They messed that up.
They messed it up, and that's on them. The offense, and I love Joe Burrow. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the game. That'd be stupid for me not to say that he is not. But you give Pat Mahomes 13 seconds, and you saw what he could do last year. Come back and win. So you would like to see a little more out of your quarterback and out of your offense, because that is a high-powered offense, whether they don't have an offense line or not. They have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and they have Joe B., Joey Mixon, whole nine. You would like to see your offense be able to take the game and put it on their shoulders. 2 minutes, 2 timeouts, get down the field, waste clock, get in the field goal range, have Evan McPherson kick a nice, easy field goal. They didn't do that. They gave it up, turnover, Chiefs ball. Chiefs march down, 50-something seconds down, and win off a field goal. Yep. So you would like to see the Bengals. Now, granted, the Chiefs were helped a little bit with Joseph Asai's little, late push. We'll get to that in a second.
A little bit?
Yeah. They were helped a lot.
That helped them out a lot.
That helped them out a lot. Especially because that was a 4th down. So it would have been a 60-yard field goal for the Chiefs.
Yeah, that would have been about a 55, 60-yard field goal that they most likely would have missed.
So then we went to overtime. That did help them out a lot, and we'll talk about that in a second. But you would like to see the Bengals, not blame the refs, blame your offense. Where did they get when the game was on the line? Where did they go? They were going nowhere. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I will reiterate this until the Bengals finally make a decision. They need to that offensive line. That's where it boils down to. The offensive line needs to be enhanced, or else this is going to be a repeat every single season. Give Joe Burrow the time he needs to get something going.
Yeah.
He can't formulate a good play out of nothing if he has like 1 second before he's being destroyed by 3 different defenders.
Yeah.
I mean, every single time that offensive line breaks down and he's got 3 dudes on top of him every single play, it seems like.
Yeah.
I mean, he is one of the, if not the most sacked quarterback in the league right now. And if you want to win Super Bowls and you want to keep your quarterback safe and uninjured, fix the offensive line. Everything else is great. Your defense, you have a really good defense. That's a fact. You have a good defense. You just need to beef up that offensive line, and you guys are Super Bowl contenders year after year. Straight up.
I mean, and they almost made it this year. And yes, the refs were questionable. His cousin, Samaji Perine, was in the vicinity of that pass. That was not intentional grounding at all.
No.
Watching that at home, I was like, man, if I'm an Eagles fan or I'm a Bengals fan, I'm throwing a fit about that one because that did help the Chiefs defense, and obviously they had a punt and all that, and I get that. But again, I would just like to see that offense do a little more. And like you said, that offense line is bad. There's a lot of people hoping that the Bengals win just so that the Eagles defensive line could go against that offensive line. Like, oh, the Eagles.
You were one of them.
Yeah, the Eagles already won the Super Bowl, man. I ain't got to worry about that. And that should not be the problem. You see, a lot of these great teams, they have great offensive lines. You have the Chiefs who have the number one offensive line when it comes in regards of sacks, is they don't give up sacks. The Bengals are on the opposite end of that. The Eagles, Lane Johnson, Landon Dickinson, Jason Kelsey, 3 Pro Bowls, one of the best offensive line in the game. 49ers, one of the best offensive line in the game. Bengals, I don't know how they made it to the championship game with that offensive line. I don't.
Joe Burrow. And that speaks to Joe Burrow, how good he is. But again, I would still like to see them push down the field and get something going. And plus, I mean, you got to give some of the credit as to why they didn't win on some of the receivers. I mean, there was a play where Joe Burrow threw an absolute dime to Jamar Chase, and it hit him right in the face. In the face. You got to catch that. If it hits you in the face, you catch it straight up. If it hits anywhere on your body in football, it's just a known fact that if you touch the football, you should come down with the football unless you're interfered with, or somebody comes up and just absolutely destroys you. But if you touch it with your head, your hands, your arms, chest,
I mean, just look at Devontae Smith's catch.
Yeah, that one. Catch.
Smart on DeMonte's part with the whole hand signal, like, hey, I didn't catch that. Like, hurry up, let's go.
Yeah, he was like, let's get this show on the roll. Like, we need to get up on the line, snap this ball right now. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot that you can blame. You can blame the refs. You can blame the offensive line. You can blame Jamar Chase for not catching that ball. You can blame the coaching staff for not having the best clock management in the last 2 minutes. You could blame the late hit on Patrick Mahomes that gave them that additional 15. I mean, there's a lot that you can blame, but the refs did not cheat them. The Bengals cheated themselves, and that offensive line is the number one
that's a headline
cheater
right there
in that game. Yeah.
That is a headline right there. Now, speaking of that play, that push out of bounds, Joseph Asai, rookie mistake. Quarterback next got to the sideline, 4th down, late hit, and we saw Pratt kind of go off on him, headed to the locker room. And as a media member, I know you're trying to get the shot, but that's maybe not the time, right? The kid's beating himself up. You see, he didn't even look at the play. He got injured on the play. He was on the sideline crying because he knew he had just lost his team the game. I don't like how Pratt took that. And I understand as a competitor, listen, I'm the same way. If I screwed up the game, I'm sad, but if someone else screwed up the game and we could have won the Super Bowl, I am livid. But you cannot do that as a teammate. You cannot sit there and berate him. You have to go, hey, that's on you. Because guess what, Pratt? Guess what? Did you not mention the multiple times that you were on Travis Kelce and Travis Kelce is wide open for a first down? Was that on Joseph Asai or was that on you? The fact that the Bengals are not he is not taking the accountability and he's putting it on. Now, again, that aside, he screwed up. You could say that he lost them the game. At least 80% of the blame is on Asai. You've got to be smarter than that. And LaShawn McCoy said that they like to take plays and stuff like that in the NFL from the previous season and show rookies and newcomers and he said that's going to be one of the plays. And I agree. That's going to be one of the plays that they're going to show and go, hey, don't be stupid.
That's a hot-headed play. We've got to stop these guys. The game is on the line. I've got to make something happen.
Yeah, and he said he blacked out.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. He tried to do something to stop Patrick Mahomes. Unfortunately, it was 1 second too late.
Yeah.
1 second too late, and it cost. That's what truly, and I hate this, man, put the blame on the guy because he's already down.
80%.
But,
They said 80% of that blame does need to go on the side.
yeah, because they would have definitely missed that kick if he didn't push him out of bounds late.
Yeah.
But
kind of is what it is.
You learn in next season. Hopefully they're better and they can capitalize on the mistakes that they made this postseason and come back stronger.
Yeah, I think they're primed for next season to do just as good. I think unless Brady goes, or no, he might go to the 49ers. Unless he goes to the Raiders, I think really the three teams again, or the AFC is easy to predict. It's the Bengals, the Chiefs, and the Bills.
Yep.
So, I mean, every year they're going to have a chance. They definitely, like you said, need to build that offensive line. Chris Jones was eating that offensive line for breakfast.
Chris Jones is disgusting. Good Lord, man.
Yeah.
That man's nasty.
So it's going to – don't blame the refs. Blame yourselves. And Joseph Asai for 80%. But,
that poor man.
But listen, and I don't want Joseph Asai beating himself up too long because this is a NFL not for long if you can't move on and learn from that. But next year, he's not going to have the rookie excuse to say, "Oh, I was a rookie or I blacked out." You can't black out in these big time games. You got to be smart. This is where